We did our project on the court case U.S. vs. Nixon.
The Watergate scandal took place during the 1972 presidential election as Richard Nixon was running for president, hoping to be reelected. Nixon was the Republican candidate running for president, and George McGovern was the Democratic candidate running. McGovern and his Democratic National Committee had their offices inside the Watergate office complex. Nixon was suspicious of his opponent and wanted to make sure he won the election, so he began the operation to spy on their offices.
On June 17, 1972, at 2:30 a.m., 5 men were caught trespassing into the Watergate Hotel and were accused of attempting to hide bugs to listen to McGovern's conversations. During the investigation, the FBI reported that the break-in was part of a spying operation to help Nixon win re-election. Despite all this going against Nixon, he was re-elected as president in November 1972.
The 5 burglars that broke into the Watergate complex were found to be Republican Party security aides. In the bank accounts of the 5 men, money from Nixon's re-election campaign was found deposited. The men were all implicated during their trials, while Nixon fired them from their positions in office. One of the men claimed, while in prison, that Nixon tried to pay them to cover everything up, but they refused.
On Monday, July 16, 1973, Chief Minority Counsel Fred Thompson asked Butterfield if he knew about the listening devices in the president's office. He confirmed that he did, but Nixon refused to hand the tapes over, saying he was protected by executive privilege. Those tapes and the conversations they revealed believed to contain damaging evidence involving the indicted men and perhaps the president himself.
The ruling of the U.S. vs. Nixon court case was that Nixon was going to be impeached from presidency. Before they had the chance to impeach Nixon, he resigned from office.
During Nixon's resignation speech, he said, "I have done my very best in all the days since to be true to that pledge. As a result of these efforts, I am confident that the world is a safer place today, not only for the people of America, but for the people of all nations, and that all of our children have a better chance than before of living in peace rather than dying in war. This, more than anything, is what I hoped to achieve when I sought the presidency. This, more than anything, is what I hope will be my legacy to you, to our country, as I leave the presidency."
The U.S. vs. Nixon court holding was that the Supreme Court does have the final voice in determining constitutional questions. No person, not even the President of the United States, is completely above the law, and the President cannot use executive privilege as an excuse to withhold evidence that is demonstrably relevant in a criminal trial.
John Sirica was a judge of the U.S. vs. Nixon case. James D. St. Clair was Nixon's attorney. In 1973, Nixon's Attorney General Elliot Richardson appointed Archibald Cox to the position of special prosecutor. In the Saturday Night Massacre, Nixon ordered for Cox to be fired. Leon Jaworski took his spot. Jaworski was charged with investigating the Watergate scandal for the government, so he worked against Nixon.
Jaworski ordered Nixon to hand over the tapes to him that recorded the phone conversations in the president's office. To please the public, Nixon cooperated and handed over 43 edited transcript conversations. 20 of them were demanded in the subpoena. Once Nixon gave Jaworski the tapes, Jaworski asked that the subpoena be revoked. A subpoena is a summoning of evidence. The judge denied the request and wanted the tapes by May 31st.
During the trial, Judge Sirica said that the evidence given to him by Jaworski was not necessary for the trial. Jaworski claimed that Nixon had the right to executive privilege to protect communications between high government officials and those who advise and assist him in carrying out their duties.
The court issued their decision 3 weeks later. The Supreme Court justices struggled to write an opinion that all 8 of them could agree on. They all agreed that they wanted no dissent. Chief Justice Burger delivered the unanimous decision. The court rejected Nixon's claim to an absolute unqualified presidential privilege of immunity from judicial process under all circumstances. Scared of being impeached, Nixon resigned 15 days after the court ruling.
On September 8, 1974, President Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon for all the offenses against the United States during the Watergate scandal. Ford claimed he did this in order to put the tragic and disruptive scandal behind all the concerned Americans. Ford justified this decision by claiming that a long, drawn-out trial would only have further polarized the public. Nixon responded to the pardon by saying he was wrong in how he dealt with the Watergate scandal.